Chat with me, Jody Misiak. And today I'm going to talk a little bit about making time for the things that matter. So grab your coffee, your tea, your smoothie, whatever you drink, and come chat with me today. Okay, so we're all busy. We all have, things. If you're a parent, you have little ones or older ones to take care of that are, your responsibility. Um, and even if you don't have kids, like life is busy and we're constantly going and going. So today, think of this as like just a little loving, gentle nudge on your shoulder to remind you to take time for the things that matter most. Now, that doesn't mean that I like rhyme off the things that matter most to me and that you go do them. It's about really listening within and taking the time to really understand what matters most to you. Because what matters most to me might not matter most to you. So keep that in mind today. And for me, I want to share a couple stories about how I make it happen, how I get, make time for the things that matter in my life. The thing is, for me, being a mom, I make time to cook healthy meals. Like we meal plan up the wazoo. We take a lot of time. One of these days I will take a picture of how messy our kitchen is. Now, since my son's in daycare, it gets a little bit more love. But we cook everything from scratch. So one of my priorities is eating really healthy, awesome food. And that's just one of ours. And another priority are my children. So I have like this, once I'm going to pick up my daughter from school, like luckily I get to walk there. So it's like, that's where I shift my gears from work to being present with my daughter. That's where it starts. So I'm very aware of the time I spend with my children. However, where one of the things that matter like one of the things that are up there on my top list, let's go top 5, top 10. I didn't actually count, but what's up there is my husband. Now, anybody that's followed me knows that like I've talked about it. He works from home and so do I. So we have this fun, like we got to share the space. And when I go on live like this, I actually have to make sure, it's like, okay, I'm recording and all that fun things. And there's actually been times, if you listen, he's actually coming in the door. He might actually back up knowing that he's heard me, that I'm live. He's interrupted meetings and I've interrupted his. So it's that. And so I see my husband a lot more than some people might. And, but does that mean that it's quality relationship time? Not at all. Like a lot of the time we see each other as co-parents where we're just working together to parent our children. And then when I'm on work mode, I'm in work mode. And so I'm just like, I'm working right now. So, and we do a podcast together. So we see a lot of each other, but it's not that quality time. So this past weekend, my in-laws were down. And normally we would be like, okay, we'll hang out with them and then we'll go do something around the house, like a project that we really need to focus when we don't have the kids around. But this time I was like, no, we do a lot of stuff around the house. So let's take time for us. We matter too. So this time on the weekend, we actually took time just for us. And it was no kids, no to-do lists, just my husband and I. And it's really fun. So when dessert came, my husband ordered dessert and the waiter was like, are you celebrating anything? And I was like, yes, a night without the kids. So big or small, celebrate the things that matter most. Like I said, I spent a lot of time focusing on my children and sending them love and being with them and being present. But one thing that has been, I do want to say a work in progress is my husband and our relationship because, we went from no kids to kids and it's just finding that balance. So making time for the things that matter most. Now, how do you do that? Well, I talk a lot about finding time for me time. But before we find the time, I really encourage you today to either get a pen and paper out, your phone if you want to write it in a notepad app, and just get clear, right? Maybe your top 5 things that matter most to you? What are the things that light you up, that you're like, okay, at the end of your life, like you'll feel confident and loving that you've really showed up in these areas? Write them down and get clear on what matters most to you. So that way you can make time for them. Because the thing is, we do get busy. We get lost in our to-do lists. I know I do. And we don't always take the time for the things that matter most. Like I mentioned with my husband, I just take for granted a lot of our relationship, but it does need time and love in that direction. So write down a list of like your top 5. If you have more, write down 10, whatever it is. You don't have to be limited to a number either. Write down the things that matter most to you. Then it just I'm going to sound like a broken record here. It's scheduling it in. It's making time for it. Usually I sit back and go like, okay, we haven't had a me night, or like I haven't had a me night, or we haven't had date night out for a while. Because the thing is, my husband and I actually have date night in every Friday. The thing is, usually we're tired, or we just watch a movie usually. So getting out of our environment, out of life, and into a different environment really helps us focus one-on-one. So if you need that in your relationship, awesome. If you have another area where you're like, oh man, how do I make time for, X, like what you love to do, please. And if you need help, please message here, like comment. And I'd love to hear, like, what do you make time for? Share. And the other thing I want to mention before we go is sometimes we need to make time for the things that matter, and it's not about planning. It's about just surrendering to the fact. So yesterday, I woke up. Actually, I didn't want to wake up. I was really tired. And I was like, okay, maybe it was just, a busy weekend. And then I get up, my son has a really nasty cough. And I'm like, okay, so we have a cold in our house. And then later on, I was feeling pretty congested. And I made a commitment to myself that when my son napped, I was going to nap too. I had some things I was planning on doing, but they weren't more important than my health. And I knew that today I wanted to come here live for coffee chat. And I knew I had like a full packed day of work, because Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays are my work days. So I was like, okay, I know I need to take care of me. So sometimes we can plan ahead, going out with our partner, significant other, making time for our kids, fun with the family. And to be honest, a while ago, I needed that. When we weren't sleeping, we had Friday fun days and Sunday fun days. And I actually made family time a priority. And then when you do that, the more you focus on that, the more it just becomes a natural habit. Like you don't have to focus or not even focus. You don't have to force and schedule everything once it becomes a nice, wonderful new habit. However, like I said, some things pop up and you can't plan for them. Life happens. Your kid gets sick. You get sick, right now in California. I know so many of my friends are moving out of their homes because of the fires. So we can't plan everything. So sometimes we have to surrender to things. So right now, for this one quick moment, I do want to send some love to California. So anybody watching from California, we send you love. That I know not all of California is affected, but you might have family there. Anyone that has family that is affected by the forest fires in California, I send you so much love. And right now, if you're just watching this, send them love too. And with all our extra love, like I just saw a post that the winds were picking up. So let's just hope that the winds die down. I don't want to say change directions because I don't want it to affect somebody else. So let's have them die down and really just send some love to the firefighters that are working so hard today. So that was just a quick loving moment to California. And so we need to surrender sometimes. Life happens. Really big events, and then mine where my son has a cold, and then I'm like, I feel a little run down. we sometimes just need to allow to let our to-do list go down for like it's not about giving up, throwing in the towel. It's being aware that maybe you need to focus a little different for a day. Like I napped hard. I normally, my naps happen without me knowing it. Like I'll just be relaxing and then I'll be passed out. This time I knew I needed a nap and I actually made a commitment to go up to the bedroom and have a real good solid nap. So you need to do what works for you. I say that all the time. I can't tell you what you need to do to feel full and to make time for you. I can, however, remind you that you're important enough and you matter enough to make the time for the things that matter most, whatever that might be for you. So if exercising matters the most to you, find the time. And it's not about here's the fun thing about this. It's not about beating yourself up. It's not about like, oh man, I didn't work out today. It's just allowing space to do the things that matter most to you. So if working out matters most to you, you shouldn't beat yourself up. If it matters most, it's just like, okay, be motivated, be inspired, be like, where am I going to find time to fit this in? Get creative and just have fun with it. So again, today is just a loving reminder to make time for the things that matter. Create that list, sit down for just a couple minutes and think about what matters most to you. Like I said, one of the biggest areas for me is, yes, seeing my husband a lot, but it's finding those healthy boundaries, right? You know, you can see somebody a lot and actually go the other way where it's just, you get annoyed. You know, absent makes the heart grow fonder. So it's about being creative and finding different ways, like where our relationship, where just my husband and I get to focus on ourselves, not on everything else that's going on with us. So wherever you are right now, send yourself some love and know that you matter and create that list of the things that matter most to you. And then the most important part is, are you doing any of them? Like how much are you focusing on? So if you made it a top 5, like I said, you don't have to have a number, but let's hypothetically you have 5. How often are those 5 things showing up in your life? Like how often are they becoming a priority in your life? Once a week, twice a week, 3 times, every day, once a month, half a year, 6 months. And then just shift things in your life so you can focus more on the things that matter. I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful day. Take time for you. You matter. And I'm sending you so much love. Bye for now.